What's up everybody, my name is Brendan and this is BigBearB Creative. Welcome back to another Friday video. I hope you guys enjoyed Wednesday's extra video of the week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on Wednesday I released a video all about a graphic design of a new piece of apparel that I just came out with, this whole Aztec design, and I take you through every step of the process of creating that design through making little patterns, putting them all in, resizing them, putting in color, and then I show you the final result on what all the apparel is and all that. So if you guys like graphic design videos, go ahead and check that out. I know this is typically more of a just photography channel, but I'm just a very creative guy, hence the name of the channel, with BigBearB Creative. So yeah, I just like doing those, and if you guys like them, make sure you keep hitting that like button and checking those out. So today's video, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, we're going to be talking another thing about photography, like we normally do on Fridays, our how-to videos. So today we're going to be talking about how to photograph in the blue hour. So a couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the golden hour and how you can kind of fake that effect. So instead of telling you how to fake it, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can take them to get the best out of them. So well, first we're going to break this down into a couple different things. What is the blue hour? What settings do you need to shoot in the blue hour? And what kind of equipment and stuff are you going to need? And it's not going to be, I'm not telling you to go buy a whole bunch of stuff, just to be honest. There's a couple things you're going to need. So first, what is the blue hour? Well, just like the golden hour, it's a certain set of time that all kind of depends on the sun's angle coming in. So the golden hour is basically about 10 to 40 minutes before the sun dips down across the horizon line, or after it comes up. Because there's not just hour, there's actually 2 hours. It's not even an hour. Yeah, that's a whole confusing bit. Photography really has a lot of confusing things. But yeah, so the blue hour, instead of it after it rises or just before it sets, it's the opposite. So it's right after it sets or right before it rises. And again, it's not an hour, and there's 2 different times. You have the morning and the afternoon. It's typically 10 to 40 minutes. And it all kind of depends on what your altitude is, where you are geographically, the climate that you're in, if it's summer, winter, stuff like that. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can find out what that is for your location. You can go online, there's going to be calculators you could use. You can even get apps on your phone that'll tell you what times it is for each kind of photography time. So also let me know down in the comment section if you guys would like me to do a video solely on different apps that you should have as a photographer on your phone, just to kind of help you out, because I think that would be an interesting video. So like I said, let me know down there if you guys would be interested in that. But yeah, so that's what the golden hour is, or not the golden hour, the blue hour is basically right after it sets or right before it rises. So the reason it's called the blue hour is because the sun is just being able to peek over the tip of the horizon, and that's creating a lot of blue in the sky because it's having to go through all the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. So basically the only light that's present is blue. Now you are going to have a little bit of a pinkish hue, maybe some orange and yellow, and that's going to be more at the beginning of golden hour. So I'm going to show you this photo that I took, I think it was like a year or 2 ago, and this is basically right at the beginning of blue hour / right at the end of golden hour. So as you can see with this photo, you still have what looks like a sunrise. My dogs are running in here, if you could hear all that. The cat meowed, so the dogs came running. But yeah, so basically this photo, like I said, is right in the in-between, right at the start of blue hour. So you still have a little bit of what looks like a sunset, but that's going to be a lot of the pinks, orange, and yellow hues that are basically the only other colors you're going to have during this blue hour. As you can tell, all the other colors are very blue, and the only reason the blacks aren't more of a purpley blue is because I just edited that in post. I just changed it to actually be more black, but that's the only difference there. Now the second photo I'm going to show you is basically right at the end of blue hour, so I'll show you that. Now, as you can tell, the big difference between these 2 photos, not only that one is a much longer exposure just to bring out more of those colors, the second one is a much longer exposure, which is why you have more of that colors coming out, but it's basically right at the end of blue hour. So everything is really blue. It's almost turning into an astrophotography kind of situation, but the stars aren't quite out yet because the sun hasn't dipped quite low enough. Typically, it's blue hour is anywhere from about, I've read multiple different things, but anywhere from about 2 to 8 degrees below the horizon line. So anything past that, then the stars will start coming out and you're gonna get more into astrophotography. So this is basically right at that 8%, or not 8%, 8 degree mark, where it's right before. But those are the kind of the two different things to look for. So if you're taking a photo or you're outside and things are starting to look like the first photo, you know blue hour is just beginning. If things are looking more like that second photo, blue hour is just about over, so you better hurry up and take your shot, or go ahead and switch over what you're doing to an astrophotography thing. So that's what the blue hour is. So now that you know what blue hour is, let's talk about what kind of settings you need to use. The main thing about blue hour is that it is very similar to astrophotography, except you're not capturing stars or planets or anything like that. What you're capturing is just that blue light, but to capture that, because it's so dark where there's little to no light coming, you have to have a long exposure. So you're going, which will lead into what you're going to need for equipment, but you're going to need specific equipment to make sure you can handle that and make sure your images are sharp. So the settings you're going to need, one is your shutter speed. You have to have the correct shutter speed. And if you aren't sure quite how to balance shutter speed with your ISO and your aperture, put your camera in shutter priority mode, which means you could set what shutter you need and your camera's gonna do the rest for you. That way you can make sure that you're getting the proper exposure, or thereabout, because cameras can be a little hit or miss sometimes. Yeah, go ahead and use shutter priority. Now, if you know what kind of shutter you're needing, or you want to make it be a little bit longer, or you're just a real good professional at this and you know exactly what you need to put in the first time, go ahead and just put that in manually. Because it's going to be a very slow one, you're basically going to be around 1/30th of a second and longer, basically. So it could be even go into seconds that you're having to expose for. Like that second photo I showed you, that was a multiple second exposure, 10 or 15 second exposure, just so I was having enough light so you could see things in the photo. Yeah, so then next you're gonna go over to your aperture. And because there's no light, you're gonna need your aperture to be as open as possible. However, the more open your aperture is, the smaller your focal range is. So, which means the amount of things that are in focus. So if you're wanting a lot of things in focus, like if you're shooting a landscape, go towards the smaller end of the landscape apertures. So typically for landscape, you do oh wow, the sun just came out. Now you can see everything. I guess we'll just roll with that right now. But yeah, so typically for landscapes, the apertures are going to be f8 to f16. Some cameras you want to stick with more f8 to f11 if they get a little noisy or start doing some weird funky stuff to your photos. But yeah, so either way, you're going to want to stick with around f8, maybe go a little bit under if it's just you wanted to be a little cautious with the light, especially if you're a beginner, because you could always take the photo again. Of course, settings will change depending on how long the exposure was, but it's a whole different thing. So yeah, you're going to want to stick to as big as possible, but fit the kind of photo that you're looking for. And then ISO, again, you're always going to want it to be as low or close to the base ISO of your camera as possible. So mine is ISO 100. So I stick to ISO 100 and try to mess with the aperture and the shutter speed to bring it up. But if it's just not quite giving me what I'm wanting, I'll go up a little bit in ISO, but only in small quantities until I get exactly what I'm looking for. And that's just gonna help you prevent having a lot of noise in your photo, because that will really ruin a photo, even though you can do a little denoise functions in post editing, but it's never exactly the same. For aperture and ISO, always stick as low or the smallest numbers as you can, even though with aperture, the smaller numbers are bigger. Again, like I said, photography is confusing sometimes. Those are the three settings. Shutter speed, have it be as slow, aperture as open as you can, and then ISO as low as you can. So now we're to the equipment. What equipment do you need just to shoot in the blue hour? Well, because we're shooting long exposures, you are going to need a tripod. It doesn't have to be a fancy one. There's a bunch of cheaper options on Amazon. I would suggest not going into some stores, especially ones that are known to raise the market price on things, but you can find definite cheap ones on Amazon. Of course, they're going to be cheaper, so just kind of pick and choose. Know what your budget is and spend well within your budget, but you're going to need that tripod. And now another thing that you could use any lens that you want. You could use kit lens, you could use more fancier professional lenses, whatever, like I said, fits your budget, you could use it. Now, the other thing that you could use, and I feel like it definitely helps, especially if you're just a landscape photographer in general, is you're going to need a shutter remote, remote shutter release. Jeez. Basically, it's just a remote that plugs into your camera and lets you not even touch the camera. Just hold the remote, click the shutter button, and it takes a photo. And this is going to keep your camera from moving whatsoever while you're taking the photo. Because if your camera does move, it's going to look like your camera is either blurry or you don't know how to focus. But you do know how to focus, right? Again, we did a whole video on this and kind of the shutter speed rule with that. So we all know how to focus. It's very simple. Either we're doing it manually or we're doing it automatically. But the thing is, it's focused, but it doesn't look right. That's because the camera was moving. So using that remote shutter release is going to stop that. If you don't want to purchase it, and it's like 10 bucks on Amazon. So it's not a big purchase, but if you're not looking to purchase anything like that, dogs are back. But if you're not looking to purchase anything like that, you can also just reuse, shh, no yawning. It's the morning. But yeah, so if you're not wanting to purchase anything like that, you could also just use the delayed shutter release in your camera. Typically there's a 2-second timer and a 10-second timer. 10 seconds overkill, you don't need to wait that long. 2 seconds is just about as much as you need to click the shutter button, back away from the camera and let it stabilize before it takes the shot. So you're going to need, it kind of goes in with settings if you're not using that, but you're gonna need that. You're going to have some way to take the photo and let the camera stabilize before it actually shoots it. So either with that remote or with using that delay timer. So I hope you guys learned a little something here about blue hour photography and kind of different ways that, or what it's about, how you need to shoot it and in what ways, and kind of supportive equipment for it. Now, another thing you could use with equipment is that you could also use some ND filters, and that's just if you have something that's a little too bright or something in there and you just want to darken it with like a graduated filter, or you just really want to have a longer exposure, so you're going to just stop it down 1 or 2 stops. That's just a little something else you could do. But a little bonus tip here for you for blue light photography. If you can, add in, or in your composition of the shot, try to add in any artificial light that you can. Because like we said, a lot of this stuff is just blue light. So if you can add in any of that artificial light, it's going to add a little bit of warmth to the photo and just kind of make it a more well-rounded photo. So that's a little bonus tip for you for this. So if you guys learned anything about blue hour photography, or you would like anything more explained, let me know down in the comment section. I would love to help you out there, or just like to see what you guys learned if you didn't know anything about this. You could also go over to my social medias. I'll display them here and they're always linked down below, and you can message me there. You could also tag me in your blue hour photographs, and I'd love to talk about them and stuff too. So make sure you guys are doing that. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. It really goes a long way in telling me, one, that you are enjoying this video and I need to keep making more, and it's also going to help spread it to other people who are looking for the same kind of stuff as well. And also, we do this kind of stuff every week. Every Friday, we talk about kind of how-tos of photography and how you can improve, or maybe things you didn't know about. And then Sundays, not Saturdays, Sundays, we do photo editing videos. And every now and then I'll throw in a nice graphic design video like we did on this one, like we did this Wednesday. So like I said, if you didn't watch that, go ahead and check that out. It's a really fun video. Speaking of graphic designs, my apparel, did I tell you to subscribe? If I didn't tell you to subscribe, because I don't remember if I did, because we do this stuff every week. But yeah, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, speaking of merchandise and graphic designs that I'm putting them on, you guys should go ahead and check them out. They're linked down in the description box always. You can find them on my merch page or Teespring. And basically, they're the graphic designs that I create on this channel. They're sold on t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, tote bags, and they even have stickers. Now those first 4, the t-shirt, long sleeve, hoodie, and tote bags, those are all on eco-conscious material and all that stuff. So if you guys really like supporting eco-conscious things and just kind of going green, make sure you check those out. A portion of your purchases of either the long sleeve, hoodie, or tote bag, the creator, the person who produces the apparel items themselves, the things that my designs are printed on, they take a portion of their cut and they actually donate it to nonprofit eco-conscious organizations. So again, if you just want to go eco-conscious, that's a great way to help. So make sure you check those out, as well as make sure you go back over to my merch page. Also check them out on Zazzle, but they're my photo prints. They're all the photos, not all of them, but just some of the more better photos, the ones that I enjoy the most. photos that I've taken from landscapes, cityscapes. There's even a couple wildlife ones that you could order as a print. You could choose the sizes of them, the paper quality if you want them framed or anything like that. And like I said, those are all on my merch page in Zazzle for you to purchase and have them hung in your home or office or any place you would like some nice landscape inspiration. So make sure you guys check those out if you want. So thank you for enjoying this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Be safe during this time and go be creative.